new members. So welcome to our Zoom meeting. And let's just begin with an introduction. So we have two new members. Rizwan, were you able to work things out? I thought there was a problem with your becoming a member.
There was, because I'm studying abroad right now, I haven't formally done the oath yet. I'm not sure if that'll be an issue or not.
So the issue that I think that we're going to have is that you're not available to do um, our site visits.
Yes, this semester.
Or also,
you're not allowed to vote if you haven't sworn in.
Yeah, so
Hmm.
you're not really a member.
I
You
can
can be
yeah.
you can sit in and learn, but you
You can
won't be
sit
able
in
to,
and learn. Yeah.
won't be able
Yes.
to vote.
Rizwan is a student at Amherst College, and he had hoped to join us, but there are some complications because he's actually in Edinburgh now, not
you're
here.
in Edinburgh.
Nice
Yes.
place. Yeah, it's been there. It's a great place.
Wow.
And our other new member is Ben Lynch. So Ben, would you introduce yourself? Tell us
Hi,
a
I'm
little
Ben
about yourself.
Lynch. I live at 148 Lincoln Avenue, and some of you know me and others may not. I've lived in Amherst for 3 years. Before that, I lived in Cambridge for 40 years. And by profession, I was trained as a landscape architect and urban designer. I did that for about 6 or 7 years. And then the economy shifted, and I ended up working for Massachusetts Department of Environmental Protection for about 25 years in running different programs, and happily retired in 2020.
And so that Ben and Rizwan know who everybody else is, let's just go around the room. We'll do roll call by introducing ourselves. So Greta.
Hi, I'm Greta. I live on Lincoln Avenue in the local historic district, and I've been here a long time before it was a district. So,
Nicole.
Nicole Miller. I do not live in the historic district, but I do live in Amherst. I am the realtor representative, to kind of bring that perspective. And this is my second term. So I guess I'm starting fourth year with the local historic district.
And Betty.
I'm Betty Sharp. I live in Amherst Woods, and I'm a historian by profession, and really glad to be on this for another year.
Good. And Steve, who got us all started.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm on my second term. I know Ben. I tried to enlist Ben when he first moved here to be on LHDC. So I'm so happy that he's on. And I live right down the block. Yeah.
Well, welcome, Ben, and to everybody else. I'm Nancy Ratner. I'm the chair of the commission. And Walker, would you like to say something about yourself also?
Oh, sure. I've met all of you, but I'm Walker. I'm the planner with the town who supports the commission.
Okay, so welcome to everyone for this hearing via Zoom of the Local Historic District Commission. Our purpose, as most of you know, is to aid property owners in the town in preserving and protecting the distinctive characteristics and architecture of buildings and places significant in the history of Amherst. Members of the public who wish to access the meeting may do so via Zoom or by telephone, and the hyperlink to the hearing is also posted. Normally, we are considering certificates. We require 3 to ensure that new construction and most alterations of exterior architectural features in the district meet requirements. But today, we have a different agenda.
Print or did he use a rebar?
Who is it?
Sorry, I think we have something else going on here. Anyway, Walker, would you like to take us through the agenda?
Yeah, that was my audio that was causing the issue, so I may have to mute myself, but for now. Yeah, we wanted to start with, so I sent out the study report that Chris Skelly put together, and it's amazing. It's got a ton of information. He did a really great job. And your job now is simply to vote to approve sending it to the Massachusetts Historical Commission. They will review it. They may provide comments. They'll assess whether it's complete or not. It's not an official approval, but it is required to send it to them and allow them 90 days to review it. So we can send it to them, and at the same time, we can send it to the Amherst Planning Commission planning board and the historical commission is also required to review it. So we can kind of be doing all of that at once. So we're ready when that's over to do the public hearing. So any questions or comments on that?
Yeah, I have one comment. I don't want to pat myself on the back, but I actually contributed to the thing as well and supervised.
Yes, sorry.
Yeah,
You
okay.
did a
just
lot
so
of work as
people
well.
know. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Steve was really helpful in getting us the grant to hire Chris Skelly to begin with.
Well, I also wrote the method. I mean, I did a lot before I got there. I'm not trying to pat, but I do want to say that I was involved. So it wasn't just all Chris. But yes, I got the grant. Yes.
Yeah, no, I think you've had a major impact on this.
And then I bid it out and did a bunch of stuff. Okay, and that's all.
Thank you, Steve.
All right, you're welcome.
Official thank you from our commission.
Okay.
And welcome to Bruce, who also has returned. Bruce, we have a new member, Ben Lynch, who perhaps you know. And Rizwan is listening in.
Okay. Am I in?
so-
Yes, I can be talked to. Yes, it took me a while to find the link, but I did it. It was fine.
I think we've got everybody here now.
Great.
Do people have questions about approving the East Amherst report?
I don't have a question about that, but what I was wondering is when the report goes to the planning committee and also to the historic preservation committee, if it can also include the wonderful story map that Walker created, because I just think I mean, while the report is excellent, of course, the story map sort of walks you through it in an easy to understand sort of way that I think would be a nice compliment for people who weren't familiar with the process.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's really nicely done.
Thank
Walker.
you.
I appreciate what you did there.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
my intention, is to
Yeah.
send it out as
Good.
backup. Yeah.
It tells the story in, I think, a very compelling way. Steve.
Yeah, I thought it was fabulous. And thank you so much for doing it. The only comment I have, and it is there's several properties that you outline that are from the 1950s and the 1960s, which are technically, I guess, by the definition, worthy of, they qualify if they came up before the Historical Society Commission. They're over 50 years, so they'd have to be reviewed. But I see them more as non-conforming properties or intrusions. And I'm afraid that if they're included in the story thing, that people might think that that's the standard that they have to match, and not a more historical standard. And I may be out of place, but I'm wondering if we could get those two properties removed from this, or if it's in, or maybe not. I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much in, but that was my only concern.
So the list of properties in the story map was taken directly from the report.
Yeah.
I could remove them from the map, but they would still be in the report. So I'm not sure if it would be better to have those two match or if we want to adjust the map.
Well, in the report, he did Form Bs on every property that are within the boundary. So that's what he was doing. I would personally prefer those to be removed, because I don't want people to say, hey, look, I'm matching this building from 1960, or I'm going to construct a new building, a new structure that looks like this one that you have from 1960. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. That was the only thing that stood out for me.
I don't think you're wrong, because we've had people who've said, well, my building what I'm proposing has already been done at some other properties around here in our own district. And I think it's a valid point and concern. If we can remove them, Walker, I think we should.
Yeah, it's easy.
Does anybody?
Okay,
object
thank you. I'm
to that?
sorry to quibble. Yeah.
No, I think that's good.
Okay. Other comments or questions that people have? Betty?
Well, then how are they treated in the report? Is it explained in the report that they will not be kept to the same standard, or how they're treated? Is this explained? Because that's the natural question. So to head it off at the pass, I guess.
All the we had like intrusion or non-conforming properties in the Lincoln Sunset. Every LHD has intrusions or I think they're called non-conforming in the National Registry. They're called intrusions in the state terminology. but they all have them. I think what the point is that you want the prevailing style and not the ones that are like, that's my understanding, that it's the prevailing style that is what you're trying to match, not the outliers. So I don't know if Chris, I have to look back. I don't know if he actually labels them intrusions or non-conforming properties, but I think that's pretty clear that, you know, it's not, we're not creating a LHD of all properties from the 1950s and 60s. You know, that wasn't our intent.
Maybe we need something in the design guidelines that actually explains that and
Yeah.
sets those apart. Is
Yeah.
that possible, Walker?
Yeah. So the property index in the report doesn't have any information regarding intruding properties. It just has the list. So that's where I took
Mhm.
the information from for the map. So it
Yeah.
might be that we want to also add something to the report about that.
I think it's a,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, go ahead, Steve.
I'll email Chris today and ask him how it should be treated. In terms of the storybook, all I know is that when we submitted our study report for the LHD for Lincoln Prospect, Sunset, whatever, we didn't specify that these properties were intrusions. I thought that they kind of spoke for themselves because there were only a handful of properties that were from the 1950s and 60s, while the rest were from the late 1800s to you know, the early teens.
Okay.
Are
I
there
think
other,
that would be good because it raises the question among people who aren't familiar with these, that what are you going to do about these? You know, how
yeah,
do they fit? Yeah.
there could be people who talk about mid-century modern and wanting to
Mm-hmm.
have a different standard. So I think
Mhm.
it's worth addressing it in the design guidelines and in the report itself. So if you can consult with Chris and see what he recommends.
Okay, I'll do that as soon as we're done.
Mhm. Anything else, or are we ready to approve this report? All
Well,
right, then
can I ask the question, like, can we approve it with the caveat that Steve will address that one issue with Chris? And that'll be
how
resolved
about moving the
between
vote
themselves.
yeah, how about moving the vote with that proviso?
Okay, I second.
Okay, all right, then
I agree. I vote to approve.
we'll do a roll call vote. Betty,
Oh, I'm sorry.
that's okay.
I vote to approve with that caveat. Mhm.
Ben,
I vote to approve with that caveat also.
Nicole,
Yes.
Prita,
Yes.
Bruce,
Yep.
Steve,
Yes,
and I approve also. So you have an approval with that one proviso that we would like to clarify what happens to those.
and one more comment. So Walker, when you do submit this, could you add a sentence in the methodology report at the very end, just saying that we took a vote and we voted unanimously to submit the preliminary study report?
Yep.
I mean, I'd do it, but it would just get confusing if I sent it back to you.
It's fine. Yeah, I can do it.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, this takes us quite naturally to the discussion of the design guidelines. And we have before us a couple of different examples. We have a pretty elaborate one that Chris did for the town of Greenwich. We have, I think, quite a clear stripped down version that Walker has done that provides, I think, most of the details that people are going to be looking for and makes it easy for people to get to those details. And so the question really is whether we want to go, what we want to do. It would cost us a fair amount of money to hire Chris to write something more complete.
Well, yeah.
$10,000.
Well, yeah, no, what it was that Chris went, attended one of our meetings and he was a little taken aback that we didn't have standards in place. So I asked him out of school, I said, how much would it cost for you to do it? And he said it would cost him it would cost him $20,000. And as I said to him, because anything over $10,000 has to go out to bid, which is what we did on this last one. And so what he did was he came back to me and he said, look, if you let me tailor this Fairfield one that I did, I'll do it for $10,000 or 900 and 950, whatever it is. So I wanted to pass that along. So it's expensive, but it's actually kind of a deal. Yeah.
So I'm wondering what the commission feels about that. Thoughts, comments? So I'm sorry, I said Greenwich, I meant to say Fairfield. Yes, Bruce.
Do we have a discretionary budget? I don't believe we do, but maybe we do in some of the fundraising that you've done, Steve, because I mean, I agree. It sounds like an opportunity that we should, on behalf the town's best interests would be served in adopting, but unless we have a donor.
No,
I mean,
you want me to, if you want me to, I'll keep raising my hand. What we would do is we'd apply for a CPA grant for $10,000. I've
okay.
applied for two. I got one for $5,000 for the Lincoln Sunset, and then another for 20 for this one for East Amherst. I think that we could, when part of the requirements when we went before town council, or actually it was a select board back then, when the Lincoln Sunset was, they wanted design guidelines in place, and we promised them that we would, and we haven't. I think that Walker, what she did is terrific, and in some ways is easier to get through than what Chris did, which is 106 pages.
Right.
But the thing is with Chris is, I personally think we should ask Chris he could winnow it down, but he provides a lot of context. Graphically, it's really very catching. I think it's easy to get to. And like I said, it gives a history of LHDs, it gives examples. So I think it's a deal. And I'd be happy to fill out the CPA application. I think politically it might be better if somebody else signed it, because I think because of my own tendency to not think about what I'm saying before I say it, I'm a little toxic. So I'd be happy to fill it out if somebody else would sign.
Well, I mean, I'd be happy to sign it, but I imagine Nancy would probably be more appropriate. It doesn't mean that two of us or all of us couldn't sign it. That might actually make a stronger case.
Sure.
It seems to me that the case, because the CPA, it's just now, I think, isn't it? CPA, the applications are. The invitations to submit applications is just so now is the time, as they say. So and part of the case can be 2 points that you just mentioned, Steve. One is that we've already promised this on the last go around. We're way due, and this is appropriate. Number two is you say that if you can explain the circumstances that make this a deal, which is the fact that he's been working with us already, and this is an outwash of a relationship that's already established. That's important. Number two is that he's you've negotiated a structure that gets the price well below what it would ordinarily be, and three, that we already have some drafted guidelines in place, which would be the starting point, which you'd be asked to augment and so forth. And if it turns out that we only spend $5,000 on Chris for whatever reason, the CPA funds there's no downside for asking for too much, except they might say no. But there's certainly a downside for asking for too little, because you're stuck. So I would think that there's a very strong reason for not going above 10 for the one you mentioned. So 10 is a very good number to ask for. And I think there's a good solid argument to be made. And in the greater scheme of things, $10,000 is not a heavy lift for the CPA, I don't think.
No.
Other thoughts? Betty.
A question I had was in reading Walker's, thank you, Walker, was that one of the questions that seems to come up all the time is about railings. whether it's on a balustrade or the porch or something like that. So I wanted some kind of specific guidance in there about, well, people were proposing mostly that they get railings, off the shelf from Home Depot or, something like that. And we say in the guidelines that we want them to replicate what there was. But I think the reality is that people are looking for the most inexpensive way possible to accommodate these. And I'm wondering if we shouldn't say something about the modern things that are out there that are slightly off, but you could still use them, because those are some of the direct questions I think that we've debated a number of times.
It's a good point.
So I think if you ended up choosing to go with my guidelines, or if you didn't get the CPA funds and decided to go with my guidelines, we would sit down and everybody would provide comments and edits and make sure that they actually reflected what the commission thinks is important and what sort of questions you really get. I put to the best of my knowledge, but you all have a lot more knowledge. So I think we could go through them in much more depth if we decided to use them.
We don't have any, you have a lot more knowledge than us. Don't overestimate us. I actually looked at I compared the two guidelines. They're very similar. What he has down and what you have.
I was looking at,
Yeah. So I don't think that's a problem. The problem is just, I think what you did is, I actually personally think what you did is easier to use than what he has. It's just that his is more comprehensive and graphically, it's actually, you could use that forever, what he has, so that's why I think it's a good, but Bruce, he's not going to go down to $5,000. Like, I can tell you on this one, when we said we had a budget for $20,000 to do the study report, and I think he did an unbelievable job. And he has, also his presentation to the commission last time, I thought was incredible, his PowerPoint, and he's going to do it again. But for that one, he came in at $19,950. So he's going to bid, he'll bid $9,999.99. So he's not going to come down, I can tell you.
No, I wasn't necessarily thinking that he would come down, other than that the scope would be changed. If for some reason it turned out that he was going to do a critical annotation of Walker's guidelines, for example, no, would start from a different place. I don't think that's necessarily likely, but if I'm saying there's no downside if we end up in that place.
Just to give some context, when I had to send it out, a bid sheet to like 4 different places to comply with the requirements. And Chris was the only guy that replied for $20,000. They just think these professional companies, they just think that's chump change and not even worth their while. So I just wanted to throw that in.
Understood. The overheads for anything other than the sole practitioners tend to make it, and frankly, for groups like us, building relationships with anything but sole practitioners is equally time consuming and likely to be less rewarding, I think. The scale of project that we are and the scale of group that we are, Chris Skelly is an ideal target. So you should be congratulated for finding him, or for him finding us.
Yeah. Well, it's been, I think what he's provided for us as examples are quite professional. The question I have is whether we need anything quite as a professional as that, given that we want, the main goal of this is to clarify what our requirements are. And I think he has more stringent requirements in his example than we've been willing to enforce. We have to think about just exactly where we want to draw the line on some of these topics.
Well, it's probably stepping back from a 100-page document to a 50 or a 30 is presumably is going to be a better direction to travel than the other way.
But I mean, most of that stuff is like padding. It's like kind of pro forma. It's explaining what a LHD is. It's a flow chart. It gives a history. He would have to tailor it. He gives a history in Fairfield of the LHDs. They actually have many more than we have. So that would actually reduce the size of the packet alone. Anyway, so but I mean, he'll do he'll do whatever we instruct him to do. So yeah,
we could commit to writing some of the pro forma pages, things that you've probably already done have already been written in a way to allow him to focus the limited amount of time that onto the really important parts of it. So I think that's another thing, because we know the gentleman, that we can contemplate that with a contract, whereas you would have to get to know somebody before you'd think to be able to do that. So I think there's all sorts of good reasons for trying to lock Chris into producing these guidelines, which we've recognized that are essentially necessary. Certainly it would have been helpful in the years that we've been on. I mean, we've done some work to push some of the work that we, on our plate off to the building commissioner and so forth. And that might be another topic that is folded into these guidelines. Look closely again at what we've given the authority, what we've ceded authority to the building commissioner. It may be that we can sharpen that fraction of the our job as well.
Walker, do you have thoughts about some of this?
That last topic that Bruce just brought up about what the building commissioner reviews versus what the commission reviews does kind of fold into the rules and reg update that we're proposing, which is going to clarify the process for different types of projects and when you're going to have a staff approval versus when you're going to have a full commission approval and hearing. So I think that is something that's going to get discussed as we go through that update. And I think that would be one argument for the simplified design guidelines, is that they fit into the rules and regs as a section. So they're incorporated into a document that tells you what the whole process is. But again, you're not getting that context about local historic districts in general.
Do we have Betty?
Is there room for both? I see Chris's as the big picture, the big guidelines, all of that. And I see if I were a homeowner, I'd see myself wanting to pick up walkers. Okay, what do I have to do about these railings here? You know, that people are going to look for specific answers for specific questions. And if the paper or if the guidelines don't give you specific answers in an easy to find way, they're going to be calling the office and asking that question. So I just think, is there a, Cliff Notes or something to it or something?
I do think that
homeowners, I guess.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Walker.
I do think that Chris's guidelines, yeah, there's a lot more information, but they are arranged very logically. I think it is easy to find the information if you go looking for it. And I personally think it would probably be confusing to have two separate sets of guidelines, even if they contain the same information. People would still probably be wondering which one to refer to. So I think you'd be better off just focusing on one.
Steve?
Yeah, I'm just repeating what Walker said. I mean, it has a table of contents. It's really easy. If you want to look up railings, it says railings. We can certainly ask him to make it shorter. Like I said, I think it will be shorter anyway, because there's not as many LHDs that he has to give a history of. It's not, I just think it's just something that we could publish and it would be around for a long time. It has really good illustrations. I just think we're getting a really good deal. So I would push for that. Although I think Walkers are terrific.
So Steve, what's the timeline for when we could get something like this? And because it seems like we're going to need something in the interim, and that'll be what Walker has produced.
Okay. I mean, the timeline will be, we have to submit the CPA. I mean, the timeline will be long because the money won't be released until next fiscal year, which is June 30th. Although Chris started work on the preliminary study report before the fiscal year originally. I mean, he really doesn't care about money that much. And he lives in Shelburne Falls, so that's why he comes in all the time. And And but we're talking it would take at least a year because the fiscal he probably won't get started until the money comes in. And plus we have to go through the process of applying to the CPA, and it's not easy. CPA asks all these questions, and then the CPA goes before the planning board, and it goes before the town council, so it will take a little while.
Bruce?
Walker, I like what you've done. I've only read it briefly. I was in Maine the last week or two, and but I skimmed through it, and I think the structure's great. It, as people have said, it allows one to focus in on particular aspects of elements of houses and so forth. I've noticed that I think there should be a section for chimneys, which I don't think is there, and there may be some other, because you've done maybe that you've done what you've done. I didn't see it there, but it occurs to me that there might be some other categories that we could find as we looked and think about this that would nail it down more tightly. But if chimneys are not there, then I think we should, because we have some particular things to say about chimneys.
Chimneys are there.
Are there?
Chimneys
Yeah.
are there. I thought they
Yep.
were.
They are?
So
Oh, I missed
yeah,
it.
they're there. So
Wonderful.
I'll say when I was creating
Oh,
these, essentially what I did was take existing full design guidelines, like the one that Chris sent, and just took the architectural information out of them and adapted it to what felt like it made sense for Amherst. So it's essentially the same document. I just took out the context. So I think that's the difference here, is how important is the context.
Well, I mean, we actually have the context in our proposals for each of these two historic districts. So we could take that language and add it to the beginning. And you've got some of it in your storyboard, much of it in your storyboard for this, for the East Amherst, and we could add the other districts in. So I think it would not be a disaster if we couldn't get this grant, but because I think Walker has done a fine job. And I think it's a great idea to apply for the grant, but if we don't get it, I think we have something very solid to fall back on. So the question is anybody uncomfortable about applying for a grant to have this done? Okay, so I think we're authorizing you, Steve, to write something.
Okay, what I'll do is I'll write it up this week, and then I'm going to send it to you and have somebody. I honestly think it's better if somebody else signs it and my name's not on it.
Okay.
And
that's fine.
also have it come from the planning department if I could just put the planning department on it. I'm doing one for the historical commission as well that way, but it's up to you.
So
whichever
you
one.
guys can apply for a CPA grant with your son? Really? I'd much rather have it come from you.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I'll do it then.
Could I say something about that?
Yeah, Bruce.
I suppose actually, I've been interested in pursuing CPA grants for quite a few years, and always as a representative of a nonprofit. And I've noted in recent years that it seems to me, I may be wrong, but that the town is asking for this CPA money, and I began to form conclusions that the town wants to, or believes that it should be the recipient of this money. And I believe the reverse. I think that this should be, that there should be a healthy reward and encouragement for town nonprofits and so forth. So but the fact that whether we are the local historic district commission, probably doesn't distance ourselves far enough from my concern to be there, but it is enough of a concern that I suggest that maybe we would want to be a co-applicant or something, just to soften this impression that CPA funds are being commanded by the town, and that makes me personally skittish. So I don't know how that makes other people feel.
Well, I think it should come from both the town and from our commission. I mean, we're the ones who initiated this process, and it should come from both of us.
mean, they gave $1 million to the library, so 10,000 is a lot less than a
Oh,
million.
you're right. It's, I
Yeah.
mean, it's one of those, it seems to be a very good project because you can say yes to something that's significant and only cost you $10,000. It doesn't cost you, you can do 20 of these and you've still got a lot left in the pot.
All
Yeah,
right.
politically, I don't see how they would turn it down. It's not asking to create a new LHD, which I know some people are opposed to. This is just actually helping developers and residents figure out what to do, so.
Yeah, I think it'll help town members. And I think it is very nice because this particular new district that we're putting together is really based on the working people of the town. I think it's a really interesting district. Do we need to take a vote on writing this grant proposal, do you think?
I don't think you have to, but
think so. You were not adopting anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Betty.
I think we should take a vote because it's about money.
Okay.
And we're asking somebody else for money, so it ought to be the commission ought to say that they want that.
But we're not yet asking them. We're asking Steve to prepare an ask.
Well, I think
It's the same
but I think Betty's right.
Okay, I'm good whichever way.
Do I have a motion?
I motion to complete the CPA request.
I
Thank you,
second it.
Betty?
Yes.
Frida?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Bruce?
Yes.
Nicole?
Yes.
And have we lost Ben? Ben, are you?
yeah,
Looks like
Ben emailed me that his link stopped working, so he was trying to rejoin, but he hasn't been able to.
Is he in the attendees?
Somebody's in there by phone. That's why I wondered.
Is maybe.
Are you there, Ben?
He's muted. I think he is there. I see his.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, is that you? Okay.
Yes,
I will make you a panelist then.
a significant break for about 15 minutes, but I came back in about 10 minutes ago. I vote to approve.
Good. Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
I'm going to promote you to a panelist, so you're just going to disappear for a second.
Okay.
So we have, you have your orders, Steve. Thank you very much.
I'll do it this
volunteering
week.
to do that. Edits to rules and regulations. Are we now talking about the design document that you put together, Walker?
We're not now talking about the rules and regulations document that you already have that was put in place however many years ago. And in my experience, and I'm guessing that most of you would agree, that as projects come in, it's a little bit confusing sometimes. Do they meet an exclusion? Do they meet an exemption? Some of it's very specific. Does it need a hearing or not? And one of the things I've been trying to do is figure out a way to make it just make more sense and be more clear. And so I categorized things by some things simply don't need a review. It's just entirely excluded from review. Some things would be reviewed by staff, which would give them a certificate of non-applicability, and some things would require a hearing from the commission. So it's not different than how we're doing it. It's just a simpler way of phrasing it. And then I created a matrix so that you can just take a quick look, say, oh, I'm putting a new door in. It's going to require administrative review as long as I meet these criteria. But if I don't, then it's going to require a public hearing. So that hopefully it's just quicker and easier for people to take a look and see what their project is going to require ahead of time, and also easier for us to review it.
That sounds good.
So yeah, there's some other changes being made as well. I think that's the primary one. We're just cleaning up, it says that you held all of your meetings on the first Monday of the month, but that's not really what we do. So we just soften that language a little. We changed the site visit language a little, so it doesn't sound like you're all required to attend a site visit every time. And yeah, just try to streamline the whole document just a little bit.
Good.
I think it's great. I think it's terrific.
Do you need us to review any particular edits, or are you feeling good about, since we've all looked at these edits?
Well, Well, if you have looked at it and if you wanted to send me back a copy with some specific edits, I would welcome that as well. I'm still waiting. Rob and Nate are also going to provide me some specific edits. And then once we have that finalized, then you can vote to adopt.
Okay,
But we have to have a public hearing to officially vote to adopt it. So
okay. Yeah, you had a few typos and things, so.
yeah, I figured there's going to be a few things that other people catch with new eyes.
That's why we have all these people on our.
Exactly.
Good. Then that brings us to the approval of the minutes from June 9th. Do I have a motion to approve? Walker sent us a copy of those minutes.
I
I
so
move to
moved.
approve. Sorry, Betty, go
I'll do a second. I don't care.
ahead.
All those in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Good. Unanticipated items within the past 48 hours. Has anything special come up? Nope. Good. Then we're ready for public comment. We do have a couple of people from the community who are here. Does anybody have anything they would like to say?
I can just add on now. I guess if someone to stay in the Zoom call after this, I can explain my situation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Rizwan.
Oh, I just said if someone could stay on afterwards, so I can just explain like my situation.
Do you
with the
want it to be
commission.
me or do you want it to be a commission member or both?
I guess just whoever would be like the best. I guess you probably be the best person to talk to.
Sure. Yep.
Thank you.
Once the meeting's adjourned. Okay.
All right, then I think we're ready to set a meeting date for our next meeting.
Yeah. So we haven't had any projects come in. So unless a project comes in, I think you could wait the 90 days after I send the report to MHC and then have your next meeting be that public hearing. But we can, unless you want to meet sooner to talk about the design guidelines or rules and regs or anything like that.
90 days sounds good to me. If something comes in, will you let us know so that we can,
Yes.
so people don't have to wait for months and months for us to.
Yeah. And I mean, you have to meet the deadlines in the bylaw. So yes, we will schedule something sooner.
And Steve, what's the CPA deadline?
It's the end of this month.
You're muted, Steve.
Walker just answered. Yeah, I guess it's the end of this month, so I'll get it done this week and I'll send it to Nancy. And just to review before we adjourn, so I don't think we need, Walker's gonna add the sentence to the methodology that it's been approved, this preliminary study report. I don't think we need to, I don't want to have, you want to have the intrusions that you want, before we submit it to the MHC, we have to get Chris. I'm fine with submitting, since it's a preliminary study report, to get the wheels moving. I'd like to just submit it and then change it after we hear back from the MHC in terms of intrusions, just to get it going. Does anyone have a problem with that?
We'd
Will
have to
the
take a
MHC have a
vote.
problem with it?
Well, they can comment on it if they do. If they, I don't think they'll say that it's not complete because of that, but they might say that we should probably add that. But yeah, I could get it sent out this week if you're okay with that.
That'd be great.
Yeah, and then
the-
we can change it afterwards, after I get with Chris, but I just know everything takes a month.
Yeah.
And this will take it would slow it down by another month. I was actually hoping to get it before this council, but I don't think that's gonna happen, so.
Why not?
But
Yeah,
didn't we
okay.
take a vote that was conditional upon changing it this way? So
Yeah,
therefore
we
we would have,
did.
so we should take a vote to revise
Okay,
that.
I'm sorry to make it trouble. I just know that it's gonna like delay it by a month because of,
That's no
Yeah.
trouble. We just need,
Yeah.
we just need to be straight about this. We should, so it's another
okay.
vote.
I
So why
move
don't
that we submit the preliminary report as is contingent upon revisions after we get it back from the MHC, in which we will address the intrusion issue.
I can second that, but the friendly amendment would be just to make it clearer.
Okay.
I would say that you should move to rescind the previous motion
Okay.
and then to, so it doesn't float in, it's unequivocal. So I would put rescind the previous motion.
Okay, I agree. You've been doing this a lot longer than me, Bruce. I move to rescind the previous motion to have it be that the preliminary study report is submitted to the MHC as is. And when we get our notes back from the MHC, we will address the intrusion issue.
Yeah. I will second, and I would suggest perhaps instead of as is, we put as presented.
Okay.
Okay, Greta,
Yes.
Nicole,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Bruce,
Yes.
Betty,
Yes.
and Ben.
Yes.
Thank you, and I also agree. So we have, that's been passed.
Bruce Coleman.
Motion to adjourn?
So just clarification about that CPA grant. Is it just from the town, and then Nancy, you will sign on all of our behalf?
I will.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think there's an official signature
We just
required, but what
rounding
it
up the-
says
Oh.
is which groups are collaborating on this
And
grant. So I can just
that-
say Planning Department and Historic District Commission.
Okay,
and
great.
when it comes up before the CPA, then both Walker and I will be there to discuss it with
Okay,
you.
great. Yeah, I
Um,
just realized it's a quick turnaround for this when it's due, and I didn't want there not to be clarification around that. Sounds good.
I mean, one last thing, I'm sorry to be such,
That's okay.
if I remember right, the CPA thing is online and then you sort of like work
That's
on it
right.
as you're going. So
Yeah.
if I send it to you, it would be a hard copy and then you kind of would have to type over everything again. How do I
Or
get
just
around that?
what I have been doing with the other one is copy and paste, or, just make a paragraph in like a Word document for each of the questions. And then I can just copy them and paste them into the online application.
Okay, I'll try that.
That sounds good. Walker, did you want us to set a date for 90 days from now?
Well,
Or-
let me see when I get it actually sent out.
Okay.
And then I will let you know what the 90-day date would be.
Okay, fine. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Okay, I think we've got to move in a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank
Aye.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Rizwan, did you want me to stay on?
You can stay on if you want. It's up to you totally.
It's fine.
But of course, so where I'm at, I can explain my situation briefly. So where I'm at right now is that I have my letter of appointment from the town manager. I have the appointment. The only problem is that I'm not allowed to be sworn in over Zoom. I asked about that. They said it wasn't allowed. I'd have to be physically at the town hall. The problem with that was that, obviously, since I'm studying abroad right now, I can't physically go to Amherst Town Hall to get sworn in. I will be physically back in the town of Amherst around early to mid-January. So once I get back to town physically, I'll do the physical swearing in, just as a heads up.
Yeah, so it's still, yeah, it's a little problematic because it means that we are short a member, but
Well, I had a question about that because Bruce isn't officially a member anymore. He's not on the official list. However, he does take part and he does
Yeah.
vote and he helps deliberate. So we might want to clarify with someone in town how to address that because his term expired a fair while ago.
yeah,
because
the
we
problem
haven't-
is that we're required to have an architect.
Yeah, well, you're required to try to find an architect. And if you can't
We're not
find one
required to
within
have-
30 days, you can appoint somebody else.
Okay.
So, he doesn't have to feel obliged to stay on, but if he's going to
Mm-hmm.
stay on, we may want to clarify what his position is.
Okay,
We could, maybe he could be an alternate.
do you want to get in touch with Bruce to ask him that question?
Yeah, well, I'm gonna have to talk to Nate or Rob or somebody first and see
Yeah.
what the guidelines are, but yeah, I'll talk to him and see if we can resolve that. Because otherwise you actually have 8 members once Rizwan is on, which is too many.
Right. Okay. That's helpful.
Yeah.
And if you'll check on that, I mean, we do have Ben is a landscape architect. It's not the same thing, and they don't know about the same kinds of things. It's really helpful to have Bruce.
Yeah, Bruce is great, but I don't want to have him be accused of participating without being a sworn-in member.
Yeah, we told him that he couldn't ever leave, and that was just unfortunate for him, but he's dealt with it pretty well so far.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, I'll be in touch about that then.
Thank you. Rizwan, have a great semester.
Yes,
Yeah,
of course.
enjoy Edinburgh.
I have a quick question before you guys leave.
Yep.
Mhm.
As for now, would it be okay if you still have kept me on the email chain? This way I know what you guys are doing, so I'm like just informed when I come back in January formally.
Yeah, and you can definitely join meetings as an attendee too if you want
Great, so I
to see
guess
the
you
meetings and watch them.
just that way I know what's going
Can't
on.
vote.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you all so much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Good day.